You may have heard of blast games, or even seen my struggles with getting Casper to jump over that stupid gap. But have you heard of Midas? These games are less annoyingly janky and more what the actual hell is going on. I'd looked at a Midas game previously without realising it. They made Eternal Quest, which was host to my 9-second dungeon run. So when I picked up a couple more games that made me question my sanity, I looked at the covers and saw, in all their glory, matching Midas logos. So I accidentally ended up with 3 games that didn't sit right with me. While Blast makes broken, ugly, and overall terrible games, Midas seems to be in a different category of jank. And if jank is your thing, don't forget to like and subscribe for more OK Gaming. Code of the Samurai. This was a game I bought because the box art looked quite slick. When I started playing it, I was hit with a wall of text and Japanese narration. That's one way to force the backstory on a player. Then we're given portraits of characters and more text to read while they chat away. I don't have anything against using audio in one language and subtitles in another, but it's just a lot of reading within the first minute. I like the little shifts the portraits do to show who's talking though, even if I have no idea who these people are. This game is split into chapters or missions, completing one before we can move on to the next. We can pick a character to play as, from the group of people from the beginning conversation. Except, no matter who we pick, we always play as this chick. No idea why there's a character selection screen if we're always going to start with the same people. But hey, it must be part of the Midas charm. The tutorials pop up with even more text, so it's kinda slow getting into combat. I found it funny that they seemed to drip feed combat mechanics, but still displayed something that wasn't explained. Like these arrows. I was told how to do basic hits, but no idea what these arrows are. When I move on to the next guy, then I'm told. The combat is standard, and the arrows are for dodging and counter-attacking, except it's done in a quick time event sort of way. But it's super fast, and it doesn't always work. We fight through a house, slicing through walls and enemies, and encountering bosses or targets. If we lose all our health, the game puts us back to the start of the level, but only spawns in certain enemies. When I reached what I thought was the final boss of the level, it was a little tough, and you could only really attack him with the dodge and counter QTE, so it was slow going. Once I defeated him, I expected the level to end or for me to run into a new area. But no, more guys come out of nowhere and take me down. Oh, and if we take too much damage or miss a dodge, we get helpful comments from a disembodied voice. Daemon Summoner. There have been so many Victorian-era vampire games, and usually they're pretty straightforward. If you get the atmosphere and theme right, you can usually get away with simple game mechanics. Though this game may have taken that theory too far. It begins with a dramatic backstory narration of a lost son and a wife who was turned into a vampire. He now hunts these creatures to avenge his family. Can I just point out how good the lip syncing is in this little cutscene?
I have become a dark shadow, hunting the foul blood-sucking fiends through the night. They have always found a way to elude me, but now I finally have a chance to finish it. Tonight, my Emily, my family, will finally rest together in peace.
A book is thrust in our faces, with a story and narration of the upcoming level. We're chasing a vampire, who turns out was his wife, through the streets of London. Ooh, sounds interesting and fun. Then, when we're dropped in the level, it's completely empty. I don't remember London ever being this quiet. We're armed with a crossbow, told our task, and left to our own devices. I was a little concerned I'd get lost because of all the side streets and alleys. But if you weren't meant to go somewhere, the game would block you. Into the sewers for some reason. And we get to use our crossbow on some reanimated skeleton zombie things. Wow, that was as powerful as sneezing. And just as useful. Aiming was very wild, and it turns out headshots do nothing. We need to go for leg shots, because of course we do. And reloading takes forever, considering we're putting a single bolt in. So far, we've encountered one vampire and a whole load of skeletons while wandering around in dark tunnels. Not the greatest first impression, but on we go. Finally above ground, and we run into vampires we actually need to shoot. More chasing, we get kicked and somehow that incapacitates us. Then a weird end of level screen.
I was able to track her course to the nearby docks.
The next level throws in stealth, except it's terrible and there's no way to see where the enemies are without being spotted.
I entered the warehouse.
At least I have a gun now, on a stealth level, where a crossbow would have been more useful. Truth be told, I didn't make it very far into this game, so I don't know what the vampires were up to or why they were hanging around. And no idea who this guy on the cover is. That ain't no vampire. Realm of the Dead. I had higher hopes for this game, as it started with an anime-style intro with heavy music, hand-drawn artwork, and lots of flashy effects. You know what? Have a watch. You've earned it. Compare all that to the box art, however. Talk about a disconnect. Once that's all over, we get backstory, and thankfully not in a wall of text. We're given 3 characters to choose from, each with their own stats and weapons. I was really hoping I'd get to play as the one I chose, unlike Code of the Samurai. We begin in a camp, with no guide and a weird camera angle we can't change. Once I figured out how to talk to people and leave, I had to fight the undead in a village overrun by zombie creatures. Light and heavy attacks, special attacks, all sorts. And we just fight our way through the level while trying to help villagers escape. Some enemies grab us and I think it's some kind of stun hold or bear hug, but it looks wrong. We get a chance to upgrade our weapons or buy and sell items during the end of level screen, then get right back to it. I thought there'd be a level boss or something, but no. We just hack and slash through the level and do exactly the same thing in the next. It's a shame considering how much work was put into the intro. My expectations were raised only for them to be dashed with a giant scythe. These games were pretty bad, but playable, and in a far better state than any Blast game I've played. If I had to choose one to play, I think I'd pick Realm of the Dead, purely because there aren't any weird mechanics, like Code of the Samurai, and the weapons in combat feel weighty, unlike Daemon Summoner. Realm of the Dead just suffered from extreme repetition that would get old fast. Did you play any of these games? What do you think of Midas Interactive? Would you play any of these today, or should they remain obscure and mostly forgotten? This was fun. Let's do it again sometime. And if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like down below.